when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Sour day. Oh yeah.
Licking at the Anton again.
All them years of my life that I'm playing mass. Oh, I never see this. Only one thinking I dey in charge of job. Oh, I never see this. It's Roxale, it's Hansel, it's Oileo, it's Galileo, it's Marcelo. Watch out everybody, I'll get somebody.
Lord, it look like pandemonium. What's the matter to the stadium?
Boy, do this a shine now. We on the line now. When is we time now?
Lord, it look like pandemonium. Let me put them on the bottom. Start to run now. Start to run now. Start to run now. Throw everything up in the air, in the air, in the air. Throw your rag up everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Swing everything up in the air, in the air, in the air. Put your rag up in the air, in the air, in the air.
It's a riot thing, yeah. Man, I hope they go take this. It's a riot thing, yeah.
History in the making.
Yeah, the whole place turn up, yeah, turn up. It's like fire under we feet. Everybody start jump up, wave up, hey, you want the whole team lit. Hey.
And if I'm work and just so end up in the mass. Oh, I never see this. Long chain dragging, nobody full of oil. Oh, I never see this. It's Jabdeo, it's Hansel, it's Oileo, it's Galileo, it's Marcelo. Watch out everybody, I'll get somebody.
Lord, it look like pandemonium. What's the matter to the stadium?
Boy, do this a shine now. We on the line now. When is we time now?
Lord, it look
I go make this time. We lit. It's a riot thing, yeah. Man, I hope they could take this.
All right, good morning and welcome. Good morning and welcome to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. This is a post-carnival post-mortem, or post-mortem for the carnival. I hope many of you enjoyed yourself. I hope many of you were safe. I hope many of you aren't sick. You see me in my representing my carnival colors and thing. I didn't jump up, but I went to carnival camp. So I equally enjoyed the experience, and I love the video that I saw. I've been seeing a lot of reviews, but we are live here in Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago. I'm your favorite youth host, ably joined with
Luke Trim, and yes, viewers, we are cooling down from Carnival. Today is the Tobago Update's very own Ash Wednesday, and to throw it in, we're going to have our own post-mortem of the Carnival event, so stick tuned for that. Kaylee, how are you doing?
Good morning, I'm doing well. Yes, as you all would have said, we have the Carnival post-mortem happening today. We have a very packed show, you know, a lot of persons coming. We have Miss Abini Taylor, Kevin McKenna, you know, persons like that, just to talk a little bit about their experience, things that would have happened during the Carnival, how they would have enjoyed it.
All right. But Kelly, just give out all the Easter eggs there, man. But that's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
Good.
But you know, I've been hearing a lot of good reviews, some bad reviews about the carnival. I mean, it's our first, so we expect those, you know, and given the climate of our society, you know, we are critical about everything, which is good. It means that there's always room for improvement.
Correct.
You know, but were you jump up?
Me jump up well doing. I was on the sidelines with Tobago Updates, covering everything. I covered the Juve, covered the parade of the bands. Well, Kaylee went to Voice. Kaylee, how was Voice? Tell us.
Voice was so amazing. Voice was epic as expected. I think from the time Voice said he was having something, persons knew that it would have been a hit.
I love Voice. I think Voice is the next Marshall.
Probably.
I love his
Voice
music.
marshal of all generation.
Yeah.
Probably.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
next. You know, like the generation next.
Probably, yeah.
Understood.
He
But
could be,
Dwayne,
possibly.
this weekend was really, really good.
So you
really,
get to
really
dance
good.
on
In a manner of speaking, I didn't enjoy the Juve as much as I enjoyed the parade of the bands. So, you know, probably next year I will know.
Is it because it was dark?
No, not that. The darkness is what gives us the thrill. But all in all, it was a really good experience for first. We got good reviews. I think a lot of people were locked in from all over.
Right.
So the naysayers must be feel bite up because they really wanted it to bust. They really wanted it to bust.
Most definitely.
Kudos to whomever the planners, the organizers, and even you, the patrons who would have attended these events. But guys, you know, that's basically it for the banter.
Yeah, for
we
now.
don't want to take up too much of Kaylee's time. So over to you, Kaylee, the news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Dwayne and Luke. I am Kaylee Lewis, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, 2nd of November 2022. Tobago's reservoirs are at 100% capacity, according to WASA's Tobago Region Head, Brian Williams. At a press conference yesterday, WASA noted that October's heavy rainfalls caused reservoirs in Hillsborough and Kingsby to be full and overflowing. For the month of October, Tobago recorded 491.6 rainfall, the highest on record. As a result, WASA committed to ensuring Tobagonians has an adequate supply of water, even in the dry season. However, he noted work needed to be done to strengthen the infrastructure to ensure water is supplied to all customers, and that work is expected to take place over the next 5 years. In other news, Tobago is ready to welcome back the yachting community after the COVID-19 pandemic. According to a release from the Office of the Chief Secretary, yachts can now berth directly within Tobago's waters without having to first berth in Trinidad for the necessary approvals and clearance. All yachties are expected to connect with the port's public health upon arrival and customs and immigration in either Scarborough or Charlottesville. Tobago is a favorite stop in the Caribbean for many persons in the yachting community. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said arming the population is not the solution for addressing the current murder rates in the country. He was speaking on the PNM's political platform in Chaguanas last night, where he addressed the crime situation. According to Dr. Rowley, the increase of firearms among the population contributed to the murder toll crossing 500 over the weekend. He promised that the government is working towards supporting the police in the fight against crime. One of the measures is through crime detection and the use of cameras. As a result, he announced a 12-month tax break on the commercial and private importation of CCTV cameras for the population. That was your news in 90 seconds. It's back to you, Dwayne and Luke.
Thank you very much, Kaylee, for that. It was well read and I enjoyed it. Yes. Dwayne, let me engage some people on the live now. They're sending us some good mornings. So I see that Luan James is watching. Good morning, mommy. I know you don't miss a show. CC Bax, good morning to you. Who else do we have in the comments, Dwayne?
Oh, I'm seeing Miss Jamali Boyce. Good morning to you. I'm also seeing Miss Carisia Wheeler, sorry. I'm also seeing Miss Lestra Belford.
Correct.
Good morning to everyone. Oh, Darian, and I see you locked in. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. And Mr. Naron Leon, good morning to you, my brother.
He left us a nice comment there.
Yeah. So guys, you know what? We have a lot for you guys this morning. It's a packed morning. For this our Ash Wednesday, as you would have dubbed it.
Ash Wednesday post-mortem.
Yes, so what do we have for them this morning?
Well, we are starting with Miss Abini Taylor. Now, usually she will be here to give us that lovely Spanish tongue, but she's going to be giving us her perspective as a masquerader. Afterwards, we have Atiba, that's the head of Arcadia, that's our Tobago
I think we have Mr. Collins Hazel afterward.
Well, we have a lot.
I know you're excited for your interview. I know you're excited.
I really am. And to end it off, we have Kevin McKenna to close things off. So viewers, stay tuned.
Yeah.
What we have to tell them to do, Dwayne? Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Helped me to cope with the unexpected. Provides financial help for final expenses. Rest assured, the affordable financial comfort plan. Tattoo Life, guaranteed protection.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Welcome back. We did not do you guys justice for those who are celebrating birthdays today. Apparently, we got so excited with the post-mortem.
Too excited.
The carnival spirit is still in the air.
It's still in the air.
So we want to apologize for that. But we have a few birthdays this morning, and we want to start by wishing Miss Tamasia Jack a happy birthday to you on the 2nd day of November. Happy birthday to you. And this morning, my beautiful cousin, Miss Leslie Ann Nurse Heredia, a happy birthday to you. I hope hope your husband treats you nice and things. Don't matter call on the phone this morning. And who else do we have this morning?
We have Miss Renee Danielle. A happy birthday to you, followed by Anisha Roberts. I'm familiar with that name. Yes, I'm familiar with that name. She lives in Mount St. George. And who do we have last?
Last but not least, we have Miss Jamie Murray. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, my beautiful country girl. Happy birthdays to you, and happy birthday to you from the Tobago Updates family, Youth Wednesdays host. So that's it for birthdays. We want to go over to straight to our first interview with Miss Abini. Haley Lewis will be taking up that interview. So let us remember to share the live,
share the live, share the live.
Rest assured, helped me to cope with the unexpected. Provides financial help for final expenses. Rest assured, the affordable financial comfort plan. Tattoo Life, guaranteed protection.
Hello? Master here.
How you going? It's Alan the Entertainer.
Who?
It's Alan the Entertainer.
Who?
Alan of Million Laughs.
So Alan, you want to get a strainer?
No, ma. I'm calling to tell you about the comedy commerce. Yeah, the comedy commerce show in Tobago.
I know that. I told you I want to come. In Trinidad. How are you going to get that? That is quite in Tobago.
Getting what?
The strainer, Alan.
Back to Tobago November the 5th. So don't worry to come now,
it's not a problem, you know. I will
you hear
come
me?
for you.
Don't come now. Ma.
Taxi.
Ma,
you going shopper, Tobago?
Saturday, November 5th, Shore Park, Tobago. It's Million Laughs Caribbean Comedy Commerce, the mega laugh festival to end the Tobago Carnival season, featuring Tobago's finest in folklore and musical entertainment, together with some of the Caribbean's top comedians: Larry Joseph, Daryl the Saint Mendoza, Dolores, Alan the Entertainer, Handsome Sun, Mako Media, and more. Get your ticket specials available on Island E-Tickets and various outlets nationwide, or visit the Million Laughs handles for more info. It's Comedy Commerce in Tobago, a wee kind of commerce.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show. It's a very rainy morning here on the island, and today we're discussing the recently concluded Tobago Carnival. On set with us this morning, we have Miss Abini Taylor. Good morning, señor. Buenos días, señorita Taylor.
Muy buenos días a ti, Kelly. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Bien?
Estoy muy bien, gracias.
Perfecto.
Okay, so I know that you're a very busy woman. You're always in high demand. Tell us how you spent the Carnival weekend, how you made time in your busy schedule to enjoy the Tobago Carnival.
Well, first I would say I did not plan. It was very spontaneous. When my best friend from Trinidad was like, Beanie, you're coming up now, what we gonna do? I said, well, outside, nice. So we planned to do a few events, little fetes, all inclusive, and of course, everyone who knows me knows that I'm a Burna Boy fan. I love Damini Ogulu so much that I just had to go to his concert. So we just really went to some events, and of course, I went on the road for a mass, but that was, again, very spontaneous and not planned.
Okay, so speaking of Burna Boy, I think that most persons know by now you were the chosen one. Miss Abini Taylor, she received the Burna Boy's towel. We saw on her Instagram, we saw everywhere that he actually smiled at you before he threw the towel. So tell us what that experience was like.
Okay, so everyone knows that I'm very short. Yes, I am 6 feet. And I had on platforms, you know, I'm very tall. So I think I was standing out because I was at the front. And I was basically living in the moment. I didn't have my cell phone. I had nothing to record. And I was just literally giving the stare. Men and women, you know, sometimes when they want the attention of someone in public, I give them the stare. So I was just staring like, oh my God, this is happening. It was feeling so surreal. And then I just lip synced, I love you. And I didn't see, it was like, I just showed it out, so I just grabbed it, and you know I was a netballer. So the hands quick and skillful, so I just grabbed it, and I held it on so tight, and someone was like, protect it, protect. I was like, yes, I protect it. So the feeling is still surreal. The towel still smells like him. I will never wash it. I have it zip-locked, and yeah, just don't know, that's it.
Okay, great. So you'll be keeping this towel forever, I assume?
Yes, I will not sell it. Some people was asking me, can I pay to smell it? Can I pay to touch it? Can you cut a piece? You know, all of us are Burna Boy. All of us are Burna Boy fans. So I said, okay, I probably might give all the $500 per thread or something. But I'm not going to sell. This is a billionaire's blessing that I have. So I am going to keep it, cherish it, and thank God that I caught it.
Okay, great and wonderful. I guess that was an amazing experience, seeing that you were already a Burna Boy fan initially. So let's talk about the Carnival itself. As a masquerader, did the Carnival meet your expectations? Do you think that it was a successful initiative? I mean, as Tobagonians, one of the main things that we were hoping for or that we want out of the Carnival would have been profit. So just give us, you know, a little 2 cents in terms of that.
I want to give a disclaimer before I say it. The opinion that I'm about to express is not the opinion of Tobago Updates, nor of my friends, family, or associates, but of my opinion. As I mentioned prior, I did not plan to go on the road. It was very spontaneous. I actually decided 3 o'clock in the morning on Sunday to go on the road. When you talk about profit, sometimes we would say that the government spent over 17 million for Carnival, but would we even make that? I think, in my opinion, that the government would have done that so the smaller man could have benefited. Because I cannot tell you of a car rental service that was not booked out, or a guest house, or an apartment, or the lady who come out with her table with sauce and corn and all the other local and private proprietors. So I say that they would have benefited. I remember seeing Burna Boy, all I know I would stalk Burna Boy. He actually went out on the reef, so Frankie Tours would have benefited from, you know, like the personal chefs, the places where he would have stayed, like the suites. Come on, to me the benefit was really for the smaller man, and I think the smaller man, we did benefit from the Tobago Carnival experience. Yes, because we had a lot of tourists here, both local, domestic, regional, and international.
Most definitely. So we would have seen a lot of we would have seen a lot of profit in terms of the linkages and the trickle-down effect.
Yes, the trickle-down effect, definitely.
Most definitely. So in terms of improvements or adjustments, what do you think can be done for next year's Tobago Carnival?
I've already seen that the dates have been published. and I see it's over a 3-day span, so I'm assuming that we're having Kiddies Carnival and more carnival-like events to benefit the Tobagonian or Trinbagonian populace. I love the date. I love how we are not competing with Trinidad for that time. I think what can be put in place is more probably okay. Although it was a very safe carnival to me, when we were on the street as masqueraders, I find plenty onlookers were storming bands and stuff. So I don't know if the security could be improved, and I wouldn't know the logistics behind the scenes. Only the organizers will know. I am just giving my point of view as a masquerader. So to me, it was really the organization, like our routes would have changed on spot, and I was like, hey, I can't make that tonight, very unfit. So you understand? So I think most of the changes can be, involve more like the Kiddies Carnival, King and Queens of the bands, things that we expect around Carnival season. But I should say, as a masquerader looking on with a bit of alcohol in you and fun and vibe, it was a pretty decent first time. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for growth and development, and we look forward as masqueraders.
Okay, great. And speaking of Kiddies Carnival, you are a teacher. How do you think the Tobago Carnival can be implemented at the school level so that you have more student involvement in the carnival?
Well, that comes from the personal choice of parents and students, etc. Just involve us, communicate with the schools with regard to the dates, present bans and options, and say what parents may go, they may not go, but that's how I think we get involved. Communicate. That's how things take place. Communicate, and let's just choose if we want to or not.
Okay, great. Yes. And to end off the conversation, very recently in the media, we've been hearing a lot of controversy regarding the newly built stage in the sea. As a masquerader, did the stage in the sea meet your expectations? Just give us your personal opinion.
My personal opinion, I mean, I was very late to meet the band, so I didn't get the experience on the stage. But from looking on videos, I think the stage may have been good for pictures, but I honestly didn't see the purpose of the stage. But it was beautiful, it was nice. Persons got their pictures, it was perfectly decorated. But personally, I didn't see the need. That's just me. But it looked pretty. It's looking pretty right now. I may take a picture probably on the weekend if I don't take the decorations, but I didn't see the need for it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being here this morning, Miss Taylor.
Yes.
So, as we end off, I just want to say, compartil el enlace, compartan el enlace, compartan el enlace. We'll be back.
It's a different type of thing down there, and we party till we drop down there, with a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Oh God, oh gosh, all you catch me? Well, we know it's the Tobago Carnival weekend, so right now I winding down low to low discounts at American stores. Remember, anything can be yours at American stores.
Anything can be yours at American stores.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported. Put a smile on your face when you're moving
moving from place to place.
Welcome back to Youth Wednesdays, viewers. And as we continue with our Ash Wednesday postmortem, you saw the bands, you felt the vibes, you saw the energy. So to give us his perspective, a band leader's perspective, on set we have with us a Mr. Atima De Leon, and he's the band leader for Arcadia Mass. A special morning to you, and how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm trying to recover still.
I could hear it in your voice. So before we get into everything, Arcadia, something about that band name, I just like how that name came about.
Arcadia. To be quite honest, I just Google a synonym for tropical paradise, and the place Arcadia in Greece was considered such. And as a result, I said, you know what, we're going with this. You know, I wanted to tell something of Tobago, something where we are in a tropic, it's paradise and also majestic. As a result, Arcadia.
I love the name, man. We had our first Tobago Carnival a few days ago. We had Parade of the Bands on Sunday. So tell us, what was your whole take on the Parade of the Bands?
For me personally, exceeding my expectations. As a band leader, you know, you'll plan, you will put all the logistics in place. You will try to make sure that the masqueraders have a grand time. And as much as you plan, things always go a little south, but all in all, when you are looking on a scene come together, it's one of the most gratifying things that you could ever imagine, and that was Sunday for me.
Wow, great. What plans, like what expectations do you have for the next Tobago Carnival, seeing that you now have the do's and the don'ts, you know, did the trial and error? What now is going to be the next step for next year?
Well, right now we are at the drawing board already.
Oh, wow.
To be quite honest, we are at the drawing board for 2023. We know where we went. We have some improvement to make. We know what changes we have to make, what improvement, and we have a lot to build on, because as I was telling my team, that this year is mainly for us to set a foundation. So the foundation has been set. Every human being that saw Arcadia, played in Arcadia, around the band, understood the energy and the vibe that we had on the road. So it could only get better. So next year, it's going to be epic.
And what's impressive about this is a Tobago birthed band. You know, yes. I think we're so accustomed to, Trinidad, but we have our own Tobago product here. And the beauty of it too, we had so many tourists, they were there, either they were in the band, they were viewing from the sidelines. So what were some reviews you'd have gotten from all over about your band's performance?
Right, so we had persons from Barbados, Jamaica, America. We had some persons from the UK. We also had persons from Tobago and a lot of Trinidad, and the reviews has been very consistent. A lot of persons, even up to last night, are messaging to register next year. The experience was off the chains. We had, for example, like us, we had Shore Park Complex. We started where our masqueraders got safe parking. We went to the road. We had tight security with rope, so stormers couldn't enter the band. And then on the road we had a lot of different things. We had doubles on the road, on wheels. We had chow. We had lollies. A lot of different treats. Then we also had our bar couldn't bust. Nobody couldn't bust the bar. Then we had food. When we come back to rest, we had massage. We had a jerkin setup. We also had an ocean spray setup. We also had the masseuse there, and then we had crab and dumpling, bus up shot. We had pork, chicken, fish, harvest style food. So a lot of persons actually left their band and came to our rest area to have food because of the type of food we had, what the environment was. So the feedback has been very great. You know, everybody coming to me because they want that crab and dumpling. Yes. So I think we were one of the only bands that actually catered to showcasing what Tobago has. In our goodie bags, we had fudge, red mango, Beneball, the different Tobago treats. So a lot of persons were very much blown away by the effort we put into as much as the goodie bag, then to the road. and the attention to detail, because we knew that this carnival, our duty as a Tobago-based band, and which was an advantage that we had, is to sell Tobago, right? So everything in our band was Tobago. Our caterers were Tobago-based. Most of our stuff in our goodie bags, like we had some turmeric soap and some body scrubs, Tobago-based businesses.
Wow.
Right? So the feedback has been amazing because we marketed, and throughout the whole experience we sold Tobago and what Tobago have to offer.
That's excellent. That's excellent that you didn't just give people a band, you give them an experience, and it's really good that you incorporated Tobago into this. Tobago was everywhere, and I'm pretty sure you could not have done this on your own. So are there anybody at this time you want to big up, you want to thank for helping you through this journey?
Right, so let me start off our partners. Next 99.1, TTT, they partnered with us for the road. We had a lot of DJs coming through. We had Mr. Chinese Laundry, right? We had Mr. Chinese Laundry coming in. He came in, he made sure and gave us any support we needed. We had my committee, I must say, we have some hard-working persons there. Then we partnered with Iconic Mass. Their committee was great working with them. Most of the vendors, the security personnel, the doubles woman, I want to thank everybody. I want to big up everybody that played a part, because as much as they're offering a service, if the service is not properly offered, then the Arcadia brand looks bad. So to all the persons that came on board and allowed us to partner with them and work together, I want to say thank you to you all. Absolute Vodka for the sponsorship when some people didn't believe in us this year, but God did.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ativa, for joining us today, and hopefully next year, who knows, I might jump out in Arcadia. Who knows?
Next year, Arcadia is a place to be, I'm telling you.
It really seems so. So I want to thank you again for joining us this morning to give your perspective. Viewers, well, you've heard it. You've heard that you're just not getting a band, you're getting an experience. So keep sticking around. Next we have Collins Hazel. I saw him on the road Sunday, so who knows what we're going to talk about today. So share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
Saturday, November 5th,
Shore Park, Tobago. It's Million Laughs Caribbean Comedy Commerce, the mega laugh festival to end the Tobago Carnival season, featuring Tobago's finest in folklore and musical entertainment, together with some of the Caribbean's top comedians: Larry Joseph, Daryl the Saint Mendoza, Dolores, Alan the Entertainer, Handsome Sun, Mako Media, and more. Get your ticket specials available on Island E-Tickets and various outlets nationwide, or visit the Million Laughs handles for more info. It's Comedy Commerce in Tobago, a wee kind of commerce.
Welcome to the March Parfait Day Spa and Wellness Center, your premier spa experience located at Bonaccord, Tobago. Visit us today for facials, cellulite treatments, body contours, body treatments, pedicures, manicures, and much more. We have gift cards for all occasions and corporate events. Connect with us on Facebook at Le March Parfait Day Spa or call us 273-7772.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers. We are here on Ash Wednesday post-mortem. So we have a surprise guest, and before we get into him, he was on the road on Sunday, you know, he was out fetting. But before we get into that with him, we would like to talk about his new achievement. So joining us virtually this morning, we have Mr. Collins Hazel.
Hi, good morning, Tobago. Good morning to the Updates family.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Hazel.
Officer, how are you?
I am fine, Mr. Nurse.
All right. Well, we've been hearing your name. You've been making headlines a lot lately because of your achievements, and you know we want to talk about that this morning. So, my brother Luke.
So, Mr. Hazel, you are from Tobago, you're from the East, you are young, and rumor has it you are now the newly promoted Assistant Commissioner, and you created history as the youngest executive officer in Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to achieve this. So, how does it feel to have this new title?
Oh, it is a feeling of joy. It is a feeling of love, of excitement, of vigor and passion to lead the charge and to be there as a Tobagonian standing among historical persons in the Tobago era, and more so in Tobago East and Roxborough, where I was birthed.
All right. You would have come a long way to Assistant Commissioner of Police, and I think the next office might be what acting deputy
Commissioner. Yes, that's it.
Right. What was the journey like? I mean, how many years have you given this service?
Okay, so my journey started very early, and my journey started as a historical journey in the service because I had 5 years and 11 months service, and that of itself was a historic promotion because it broke record within the TTPS. Actually, there are persons who started at 22 years in moving on from. I must say I started as a special reserve police officer and joined the TTPS, and then got promoted after 5 years and 11 months. Then I got promoted again in 2007 and moved off to the rank of sergeant. And from sergeant, I spent a few years and I moved on to the rank of inspector. I think at the inspector rank, that was my longest stay, over 9 years at that rank. And I moved on to become an assistant superintendent of police, following which the journey was just 2 years, within a 2-year span to this present rank. In terms of reaching that milestone within my last promotion was within a mere few less of 2 years.
All right. And we know that the TTPS has many departments, divisions rather, that one could serve. What were some of your most notable contributions in the various divisions that you would have served over the years? What are your proudest moments in those areas?
Well, for me, basically, I would say I enjoy all my postings. Throughout the TTPS, I started working at Port of Spain, where I am back now. I started at Belmont Police Station, and follow which I came to Tobago. I first worked at Charlottesville, and Charlottesville, I got most of my promotions at Charlottesville. And then I moved on. I worked at all stations in Tobago except Moriah Police Station. But in sections, I would have worked in the community policing department. I was head in charge of the guard and emergency branch. I work in charge of the interagency task force. I then went back to community policing, and so I have had that experience of working out in those sections and unit. However, I think if I should sum it up all, I think I had a very successful area in working with the community policing department. More so for the fact that the community policing department was a part of my youthful life. As a young person, I worked with youth organizations, was represented Trinidad and Tobago internationally in Vienna, and all my youth life I've been involved in community work. I worked in various spheres of human endeavor, serving people, and that is what I am passionate and determined about. The police service have to continue focusing in its attention of one of our very important stakeholder, and that is the people. We have to focus and set our moorings in order to treat with the people and the people issue. While we are we are there to protect law and order. We are also there to teach, to enable persons we are there to act as a catalyst for change in society. And therefore, it is critical that we see and understand our role, understand our purpose, and be able to organize strategies that will direct us in achieving that purpose. And how we do it is by partnership with the people, that mutually beneficial relationship where we can communicate with our stakeholders. The people form a microcosm of the society, and therefore it is very important that we understand the role of what the police play. We are an educator, we are a teacher, we are there to guide, we are there to instill values. And therefore, we want to, I would think, basically, those were some of the things that I've set out to do in terms of ensuring that, we chart that course and reach out to persons.
Now, Mr. Hazel, I was about to ask you what would have contributed to your promotion so quickly, but you basically answered it. In short, serving the people. And, it's really good that the youths listening, that they can take a page from you and they can, use you as an example to make strides in life. Mr. Hazel, now we are on a Carnival segment today, and I couldn't help but notice I saw someone looking oddly like you in the parade of the band. Was that you, Mr. Hazel?
think he's frozen.
Okay, viewers, so while we wait for Mr. Hazel to come back the way, wow, so imagine, you know, people like to look for outside people to use as role models, and we have our own role models right here.
We have a lot, and I know that he was, you know, because of his stellar performance over the years, he would have, you know, shoot up the system a lot faster than most.
That's great.
And you know, it just goes to show that age is not a factor. Your physical geography is not a factor. You can do it.
Correct.
Right? And I know many of our young people are shying away from these positions, but these are noble positions that you could lend a hand and make a difference in society. The police, the military on a whole, you know, and you know, I think yes, our system is not perfect, but definitely Mr. Hazel would have made that, you know, bridge that nexus in terms of the community and policing.
I agree, and the thing is, sometimes as youth we feel like there's no space for us there in the service. But when you look at even on the Carnival, who was patrolling the streets, you will see, you know, young people in the service. So I think they really need to get in. So is he back with us, Mr. Hazel? Can you hear me?
Right. I think Mr. Hazel is trying to dodge our questions this morning.
Probably. Mr. Hazel, can you hear me now?
I'm back.
All right, Mr. Hazel. So
I'm back.
I was saying, on the parade Sunday, I think I would have seen a man that looks oddly like you. Was that you, Mr. Hazel?
Yes, and it is very important as I talk about being with the people and participating with the people. That was a very important opportunity as a first and a leader, that you actually, there's something in leadership that one ought to understand, that you'll never give someone an instruction to do something that you are not to do yourself. And therefore, participating in the Carnival gave me an opportunity to have a viewpoint, to understand from a masquerader, from a police officer, from a normal citizen, from a driver. And I had that experience of being on the road, so that I feel and I can hear what the band leaders are talking about. I am in a position to understand what the masquerader feel, how the vendor felt, because I was a part of it. And that is all about being involved and not seeing yourself in terms of, well, perhaps why the police should play mass. I played mass and I enjoyed the festivity, and therefore I, as an executive officer, I can now add value to the strategy of Carnival for 2023 in Tobago.
Wow, Mr. Hazel, I love that. I love that response. I love that response, man. And I also love how, despite whatever title you have, you still remain humble. You still remain committed to the people. That is a really excellent value that everyone should possess. That despite whatever blessings you have, remain humble. I like that one, Mr. Hazel.
I like how you ended it off there. Very serious and succinct. You are going to make sure that you. Carnival 2023 is well protected and served by the police at all ends, and we look forward to that. You know.
So, what you would have enjoyed about the Carnival, Mr. Hazel? What were the highlights? Like, what were the thoughts, the highlights? What is your perspective about the Carnival?
Right. I think that would have abruptly ended.
Yeah, but I love this response, though. You know.
I just want to repeat the response.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Hazel, I would have asked earlier, what were your highlights? What is your perspective about the Carnival? What you would have enjoyed about the Carnival?
See, we're having some technical. I mean, the weather.
The weather is relaxed this morning, so that's expected.
Yeah, so guys, I think that might be a wrap with ACP Collins Hazel this morning. Oh, he's back.
Okay.
Right. I think that would be a wrap for us this morning.
Really great interview.
Assistant Commissioner of Police, Collins Hazel.
Really great interview.
Thank him for being here with us this morning. And we go straight into our next interview. But we're going to take a short intermission. So remember to
share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice car get damaged bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard, I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
This is it. Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Exhale Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
That's all the big son. Bungie remember them days? Well, alright, Bungie might remember them. Ian Alvarez remember them. Don't forget the afternoon. Forget the rest. Me and you talking alone there. Ian, remember the days when you went to the fridge with your hot bake in your hand to get blueband butter, but the blueband butter done. And they went for the yellow, the golden ray. Think they're shaking it. No, listen, you don't know what that is when you bite a bake with golden ray, my dear. Once that bake hot with golden ray,
Saturday, November 5th, Shore Park, Tobago. It's Million Laughs Caribbean Comedy Commerce, the mega laugh festival to end the Tobago Carnival season, featuring Tobago's finest in folklore and musical entertainment, together with some of the Caribbean's top comedians: Larry Joseph, Daryl the Saint Mendoza, Dolores, Alan the Entertainer, Handsome Sun, Mako Media, and more. Get your ticket specials available on Island E-Tickets and various outlets nationwide, or visit the Million Laughs handles for more info. It's Comedy Commerce in Tobago, a wee kind of commerce.
Play your part safely and anonymously. Report a crime. Earn a reward. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. Be a hero. Champion. Fearless citizen. Be a crime stopper safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime.
Welcome back, guys, to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates Morning Show. This is Tobago Ash Wednesday, Tobago Carnival Ash Wednesday, Tobago Youth Wednesday, a post-mortem update on the Carnival experience over the weekend. This morning we have the Deputy Chair of the Carnival Committee, one of the planners of the committee, Mr. Kevin McKenna, the Kevin McKenna, that is. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir, and good morning to our viewers and listeners.
All right. I saw the video, but I didn't see no videos of you jumping and whining on nobody. What's going on?
That is great that you didn't see that. That is very, very easy. You're hosting the back there, shock.
So my first question is, did you support the carnival that you planned? That you saw head and foot and hands and everything inside?
Support? I bleed. I was in it. I think I attended. I had fun hopping from event to event, and it's from event to work the next day to event. I actually attended, if you see my hands, I still have some bands on. I actually attended over 23 events for this carnival.
Wow.
For the month of October, so yeah.
Wow. So I want to begin by asking, what did the carnival committee hope to achieve by hosting this event? Is this a muscle or a hand just to show that, you know, we could put on a carnival? What were the key goals set out by the carnival committee?
Well, we'll have to go back a little bit. You remember this thing started when one a bold person decided, hey, I'm going to university and do this weird degree by the name of Masters of Arts and Carnival Studies. And coming back from that, and my thesis was on Tobago having its own carnival. And when I returned to Tobago, I remember I started to have consultations with various stakeholders, was hired as the consultant for that Tobago carnival. And from that report, we actually, that was placed into the committee, and we actually used a number of things from that report came forward. So when I saw things rolling out, we was like, yes, this is good, this needs to tweak. And of course, the post-mortem will, you know, pick up on a lot of that. So a lot of things came out from that consulting document, and the committee, of course, made a lot of changes, minor subtract, and then from there we moved forward into the subcommittees and the implementation arms.
I mean, I wouldn't ask you to comment on, you know, the economic rippling effect that it would have had on the carnival, but I could ask you, however, was the turnout great? Did the committee hit the nail on the hammer by having this event?
Well, one of the things, I wouldn't want to jump it, but one of the things that the committee is doing is also the research element of it, which will be a visitor exit surveys, which I think is ongoing right now at the airport and our port. And that will determine the average visitor arrivals you'll get from the Caribbean Airlines, and then you'll get to the average spend. In 2018, we had an average spend, I think it was about 9,000 something, and from that we were able to calculate that Tobago would have made 18 million. And that information is from the Ministry of Planning. So now in 2022, those surveys will be able to tell us, okay, we invested, because $17.5 million was not just 17.5 million, but it's an investment, and from that investment, we will then be able to determine, based on the research data, how beneficial it was to the Tobago.
But viewers, we want to stick a pin right there. We just got some word in breaking news. We have 2 pictures of Mr. McKenna getting on bad in Carnival. Please.
Mr. Ronald Wood.
Alright. Listen, you gotta teach me that move.
I'm not coming back to Tobago update. You see, I'm actually holding that backpack there. I'm actually holding the Assistant Secretary backpack, while she was parking, you see, and the masqueraders over there.
Yeah. Listen, you have to show me how to move my waist because
this is with Fog Angels. The mass was really good. One thing I appreciate is by going through the crowd, a person say, "Hey, the person with Carnival, come out of your picture, boy. Thank you, Tobago needed this."
Yes.
That was good, and the committee did a very good job. Let me big up some of the committee members off the top of my head: Pearl Duke Orr, Kyle George, Kerry Walker, Telly Cruz, Ainsley King, Anya Elias, Mr. Clark. Let's call him Clarky for the pan. Yeah.
All right. And we spoke about challenges. What were some of the most notable challenges in planning the event? I know you mentioned Caribbean Airlines. Do you see, or were there any impediments on Caribbean Airlines and the Tobago Port Authority, Trinidad Tobago Port Authority, chartering?
Well, I think the port
services
had put on some sailings very early. The CAL issue, I think that is something that we really have to work on. Not just for Carnival, but in the whole Tobago situation.
Right.
And I think the chief said it well when he said, probably need to have another carrier on the air bridge, because that one carrier, I think it's stymieing operation. And if we're creating a social mile, we're creating something that is new, we have to now go beyond what is the norm, because the success of your Carnival or any festival, and if we want to be truly be the land of festival, we have to operate in getting persons here.
Right.
And that was one of the biggest issues in trying to get people to and from the Tobago space.
Right. I want to ask you quickly. We had a lot of events during the Carnival period. Just quickly, what are some of the most notable events, the competitions and bands in the Carnival? I know it's a lot, but just quickly.
Noticeable events to me would be one MIL, Mod is Life, that was held behind the airport. That event was really well. It was well attended. It did exactly what it was supposed to be. More persons should have been in the mod though, including myself, but the event was good. I attended some boat rides. The 3 boat rides I attended back to back were actually really great. Temperature, Revel, and crowd control. I see crowd control also having a cool down. This guy from Speyside, supposed to know him, Josh.
Right.
All right. So those boat rides were good. Other memorable events. Hideout. I did Hideout in Roxborough, and of course Rox Glow. Which was the night
that
mass.
was a very good.
Now the rain came. And you're expecting persons to be like, all right, I'm going home. And no, they stayed in the rain with that umbrella. The vibes, the energy was amazing for Roxglow. You had persons, a lot of persons over by the gas station. They stayed over there and watched the show. Persons went into the stadium. So Roxglow was really good. And of course, the parade of the bands. The Juve, I didn't get to stay long in because it was more work. So I had to get in the Juve quickly and then go to the airport to collect some artists for the Roxo show. But Roxo definitely for me, I would put as a high Roxo people know how to party.
Yeah, gosh, that is where country people we just do it. Anyway, $17.5 million, right, is quite a steep figure. And we had a lot of controversy around the figure, right? Just to give context, where are some of the areas that would have been invested in that the average person would not consider, because you might say, oh gosh, $70 million, and oh gosh, where this money going? But just quickly,
you have to remember one, the trucks were subsidized, so the trucks you see on the road was paid for by the THA. You have to also cater that assistance was given to pretty mass bands, Juve bands, night mass bands, traditional bands, and in some cases even some promoters.
Right.
So those.
Yeah. What about the competition? We had a lot of competition.
And then you also have the competition with prizes. So these things will add up. They would look little or sound little, but eventually they will add up. And then on the day you have to deal with things, probably security for the day, private security if you're going to have road marshals. So these things will add up. Then you have also marketing is a heavy cost. You have to do radio ads on various radio stations, your TV ads. And even things to print, your banners, your billboards, these things come at a cost.
All right.
So as I said, the 17.5, don't look at the spend, look at it as an investment. And then we would use the empirical data to support that investment. At the end, the politician, the policymakers should be able to say, this was a good investment because we invested 17.5 in the orange economy, and this is the returns on investment. And carnivals around the world, countries around the world are doing the Trinidad type carnival because of the pull that it naturally has. Once you say carnival, half your work done. You say juvie, and next 25% of your work done. The last 25% is dependent on you and how you market and how you treat that carnival.
Right, right. So Carnival 2023, what should we expect next?
Well, we can't reach the 2023 because...
But all the post up a whole thing, we ain't reached the...
Well, it's a save the date.
And the nearly done.
It's a save the date, but you remember we still now have to do the post-mortem is important because the life of the committee actually comes to an end by the end of this month.
Right.
The committee is not a whole year committee.
Right.
So the committee has to do its post-mortem, of course, submit various reports, the policymakers, and then they will decide how we go forward.
Great, great, great. We have been hearing a lot of controversy and noise. I mean, not noise. We have been hearing a lot of concerns in this space, right? You know, about the bands not getting the support, the artists, the Tobago artists not getting support, the Tobago DJs not getting support. Is there any merit to that? And what could have been the possible reason for those things? Is it that you all didn't care about Tobago at all? Why Tobagoans didn't get nothing? Oh gosh, give Tobago something and tell us about that, please.
I think the majority of events, when you look at it, were not stage run. They were private sector driven. So I think it's two dimensions you must look at there. One, I think entertainers and songmen need to have what they call an agent. Not a manager, an agent, because I see a lot of people like to say we have a manager, but what exactly is your manager doing? Your manager or agent has to now reach out to these promoters and say, listen, I have a young and upcoming artist. My name is Ronald Wood and I just do belly dancing, and I want to feature, you know, for 5-10 minutes on your thing and start to build the day. Of course, from on the policy side, there are things that they can do in terms of assisting the art form in training, voice thing, song recording, that kind of thing. And I think I saw some persons are saying, well, they ain't book me, or this one getting booked more than the other. Let me use Tam Tam, for example. Tam Tam used the social media. He broke out on the internet, and as a result of that, Tam Tam is riding a wave of success. Right, because his music is trending, and somehow that's how the musical industry, the carnival industry works. So even the bigger artists, I remember Maximus Dan, when he came out to the city, good bondong, he had performances right through the year. Next year, he did not have a power song, and he was on the TV complaining that nobody booked him. Right?
So is it that you're saying that we have a culture that we expect things to come to us? Is it that you're encouraging our young Tobago artists, promoters, DJs to continue to hone their craft in such a way that they could be recognized, or?
As I said, it's two steps. Right. On their part, they need to have their agents push and contact the promoters and say, I want to be on your show. Because persons who calling me, and I would say, look, these are the promoters, these are the numbers. Call them, see how we can get onto the show, and you have seen that happen. Right. So on one end, they are supposed to do that. And they should do that, especially if you don't have a trending song. Because at the end of the day, the promoter is in doing his promotion to make money. And he would look for the best cadre of people, whether it be DJs or artists that he believes could bring or draw people to that event. So you have to try to now see, where do I fit into this? It doesn't mean the promoter is wrong. I mean, we will try our part on the THA side to say promoter needed to put in. And in fact, in some cases, we ask promoters, based on who receives some funding support, to include local acts, local meaning upcoming performers, right? But that could only go so far. And again, I said the policymakers, they can do help by doing some training sessions, encouraging people to do in terms of the type of music where you're going to your studio, where you're going to get that music done, and even studio writing. So it's two levels.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And quickly, we're wrapping up. I just had 3 more questions for you. Just answer them quickly for me. So we heard that there were some changes in the route that would have left some vendors, you know, in some disarray. How is the Carnival Committee going to treat with that? What are your thoughts?
Changing the route, I think the best person to answer that would be the chairman, because I was on the road playing mass, so I didn't think. So the chairman will be the best person to explain why the route was changed.
You're not deflecting? Is that your...
Yes, I am deflecting. Chairman will answer the question.
All right. So, right, and on viewers, stay tuned. We have her on for GMT. Good morning, Tobago. Right. So back to this interview. Mr. Duke said that the carnival was a waste and only giving away free passes to those elected officers. Why is it that you all doing that, Mr. McKenna? Is it that you all favoring the? So why you can't get a free pass?
I would leave the wait. You was named Burna Boy?
Mr. McKenna, I do not know what you're speaking of.
Anyway,
however, I want to focus on Carnival.
I would not.
Right at this moment. I am not a part of the Carnival committee, so hence the reason I'm asking.
But you just asked about getting a free pass, and I'm asking if you was
about Carnival.
About Carnival. Burna Boy was part of the Carnival ecosystem.
Oh wow.
Anyway, moving along.
Thank you very much.
I would not. I will not comment on Mr. Duke's statement. I think I would leave the politics of the day to the politicians, and I think the Secretary for Tourism or the Assistant Secretary for Tourism or even the Chief Secretary will be better placed to respond to Mr. Duke.
Oh, but do you share his sentiment at all about the Carnival being a failure?
Well, you see, I can't, because you have to look at the benefits of the Carnival. And as Abini was on this morning and she said, the small man got stuff, and I kept saying that even on my Facebook page. What are you going to do for this Carnival? I actually saw Ronald Wood out in parties and dressed up. He was not in a Tobago updates t-shirt. So it means that some lucky store got Ronald to buy clothes. And I mean, that's a great thing. For viewers, if you know, Ronald is always in a Tobago updates t-shirt. So to have him out in a shirt in different events, this is good. So economic benefits, he bought clothes. He would have buy alcohol to attend these events, car rentals. These are the things he did. He finally went to a barber and he got himself groomed. Because as he said, the Trinis was on the island, so he went looking.
All right, Mr.
I didn't see much of Candice, but I don't know.
All right. Well, Candice probably was hiding behind some the trucks, or she was probably running on somebody.
So we have to wait until the data comes back, and we'll be able to say how the 17.5 million was invested and the profits from it.
Right. So finally, when should we expect this detailed post-mortem from the Carnival committee?
So I'll deflect again.
But you are deputy chair. Is it that you're I don't want to believe that. I know you're very well competent in what you do. Hence the reason why you're here this morning.
Good. But I also have to give way. We also have to give way that the chair will decide when the post-mortem is going to happen and how we're going to build out that post-mortem. Because you also have to, the committee has to have its post-mortem, but you also have to meet with the stakeholders, the mass, the pan, the calypso. And even the police. Oh, by the way, let me just thank the police service. I think they did, Mr. Benjamin, and they did an excellent job. I didn't see anybody getting rough up on the road. People behaved themselves. The Carnival was nice, relaxing, breezy.
And that is indicative of the climate that we foster here in Tobago. We behave ourselves.
And that was one of the things we noted. That was one of the advantages of having the Carnival in Tobago. And by the way, I'm going to put a small plug. I think I saw it on Facebook, Krista Winchester, where she said, let us relocate the Isle of Tobago sign to the stage, which I think makes practical sense in terms of persons taking pictures, so they don't have to, pedestrians doesn't have to stand in the road.
Correct.
So whoever is responsible for the sign, which is Urban, that is YT, Mr. Pollard?
I believe so.
Mr. Pollard, could you relocate the Isle of Tobago sign to the stage, please?
Perhaps you could, in your capacity, you could write to the Honorable Secretary and make your suggestions known. So guys, unfortunately, this brings us to the end of our interview with Mr. McKenna. It was a pleasure having you. He always brings the vibes. He's a trouble man everywhere he go, but it's good trouble, right? So my brother Luke told me to wrap up the show without him. It would have been a pleasure to have him here, but he ran out on me, right? But guys, we want to thank you very much for being here. We're going straight over to GMT, Good Morning Tobago, with Candice Jackson, and she will continue the conversation about the post-mortem with the chair of the Carnival committee. So remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back. We're out and back.
side open back again, Lord. I just want to see who have the maddest crew, who have the maddest crew, who have the maddest, who have the maddest, who have the maddest crew, who have the maddest crew, who have the maddest crew. I say my team was a new and this is what they love to do. My crew just hold on defense and start to shake it, grab a girl waist and dislocate it. You feel your bad, my crew go really hard. Hold on defense and start to shake it, grab a girl waist and dislocate it. You feel your bad, my crew go really hard. Boy, my crew does make sure that they reach in venue first, and they're not leaving in there till the sun come up, We party hard, we party sling, we party rough. My crew does really turn it up. You're tired yet? No. You don't break a sweat? No. Are you ready to go home? No. Well, let me get to the zone. I said to show me where you come from. Everybody start pumping, and if you're too more mad, then represent and show me who are the maddest crew, who are the maddest crew, who are the maddest, who are the maddest, who are the maddest crew, who are the maddest crew, who are the maddest crew. I say my team was a new and this is what they love to do. My crew does hold on defense and start to shake it, grab a girl waist and dislocate it. You feel your bad, my crew go really hard. Hold on defense and start to shake it, grab a girl waist and dislocate it. You feel your bad, my crew go really hard. My crew, your crew, we just party for two. When we link in a fete, we just mix like Kalalu. We just play the game, we just play it like Sudoku. So when the girl them head over, we don't see them crazy bird cuckoo. You're tired yet? No. You don't break a sweat? No. Are you ready to go home? No. Well, let me get to the zone. I said to show me where you come from. Everybody start pumping, and if you're too more mad, then represent and show me who are the maddest crew, who are the maddest crew, who are the maddest, who are the maddest, who are the maddest crew, who are the maddest crew, who are the maddest crew. I say my team was a new and this is what they love to do. My crew does hold on defense and start to shake it, grab a girl waist and dislocate it. You feel your bad, my crew go really hard. Hold on defense and start to shake it, grab a girl waist and dislocate it. You feel your bad, my crew go really hard.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denicia.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad and the region. With a perfect conversation to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson. And let's get started with the news in 90 seconds before we get into some post-carnival mortem discussions. Alright, Tobago's reservoirs are at 100% capacity according to WASA's Tobago Regional Head, Brian Williams. At a press conference yesterday, WASA noted that October's heavy rainfalls caused reservoirs in Hillsborough and Kings Bay to be full and overflowing. For the month of October, Tobago recorded 491.6 millimeters of rainfall, the highest on record for the month of October. As a result, WASA committed to ensuring Tobagonians have an adequate supply of water even in the dry season. However, he noted that work needed to be done to strengthen the infrastructure to ensure water is supplied to all customers, and that work is expected to take place over the next 5 years. In some other news, Tobago is ready to welcome back the yachting community after the COVID-19 pandemic. According to a press release from the Office of the Chief Secretary, yachts can now berth directly in Tobago's waters without having to berth in Trinidad first for the necessary approvals and clearance. All yachties are expected to connect with the Port Public Health upon arrival and Customs and Immigration in either Scarborough or Charlottesville. Tobago is a favorite stop in the Caribbean for many in the yachting community. And nationally, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said arming the population is not a solution for addressing the current murder rate in the country. He was speaking on the PNM's political platform in Shogunas last night, where he addressed the crime situation. According to Dr. Rowley, the increase of firearms among the population contributed to the murder toll crossing 500 over the weekend. He promised that the government is working towards supporting the police in the fight against crime. One of the measures is through crime detection and the use of cameras. As a result, he announced a 12-month tax break on commercial and private importation of CCTV cameras for the population. And that was the news in 90 seconds. And as promised, we are going to continue our discussions into the Carnival post-mortem. I mean, we had a huge show diving into just the various sides of it. But I am seated here with the chair of the Carnival Committee, none other than Miss Misha Trim. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candace.
Have you recovered yet?
Slowly but surely.
So we had a very exciting, very busy Carnival period. I mean, how are you feeling now it's concluded, and how are you feeling about just how everything went?
Yeah, I am really elated at this point. Basically, you know, we're talking about post-mortem, but the truth of the fact is that, you know, you'd have to do your preliminary investigations, and I was out and about, especially on the last day. And on Sunday, from all indications, just asking persons how they felt about, you know, being here on the island and what took place in the last 72 hours. And resoundingly, everyone felt great about what happened, what they experienced, being part of history. And, you know, that in itself speaks to the fact that we had our challenges, we persevered, and we ended up culminating our labor of love in an exuberant display on the streets of Scarborough. You heard masqueraders talk about the freedom they felt. You know, hearing things from the Hotel Association that their bookings were up to par and probably surpassing expectations. We're talking about 90+% occupancy rates. I know people couldn't get a rent car on the island that weekend, and all the creatives that really gathered in the space, you know, they put forward a good showing. I really just want to say thank you to Tobago, you know, those who cut through the noise and stuck with us and believed in the vision that we could do it. Small island, big dreams, however you want to put it, Candace, at this moment. I mean, the surveys are going to come in, the ROIs are going to be calculated by those persons that are charged with those duties. But for now, if I sit here to tell you that I am not happy, I'd be lying. I'm extremely pleased.
I mean, and that's a feeling that we've gotten from a lot of persons, especially those who took part. For those who took part, they have this feeling of, yes, it was a success from the standpoint that it was a good start.
Yes.
For, you know, what could be something big, what could be a major part of the Carnival calendar of events in the region. Now, of course, and that's where the debate comes in now. So people are saying it was a successful start, but there's a lot of debate as to whether it was a successful portrayal or a successful, you know, happening, based on, you know, the challenges that surmounted. And then how would you answer these critics who are, you know, not quite ready to give you that success stamp of approval?
You know, like I said, when you running a carnival is pretty much like running an island. You sit with all stakeholders and interest groups, and you have so many persons to please in the process. And I'd say, you know, like I've said before, have some patience, because what you see this year may not be very well the same aspect that you see next year. But literally, we created a brand presence, and those are some of the wins that we can take away. For the first time, our carnival has been branded, and identifiably so, where people were clamoring for our promo items because it spoke to them, it said something. And that was a process that we went through to get us to that stage of using this particular logo. The brand identity was very much vibrant. It spoke to what our island says. You know, those sticks at the bottom of that T spoke to the greenery, the lush greenery, the blues of our oceans. And then, of course, the brown shows we are people of color. and definitely identified mud and the Mud Festival as part of what we want to showcase in a bigger way come 2023 and beyond. So, you know, we had some wins, and that was the initial one. So now we have a Tobago Carnival logo and a brand identity that spoke to the story, which is ritual, revelry, and release. And that story will continue. It started. This is only the start. That story will continue and shape into something over the years that we would all now be accustomed to. And in the end, we'd be like, okay, so what was the fuss about? We came, we saw, we conquered, and we're moving on to bigger things. It's just that simple.
So with ritual, revelry, release, would that continue to be the tagline for Tobago's Carnival going forward?
Well, if I can say so myself, because, you know, this committee was convened for 6 months. So at the end of this month, we give up our tenure. After this week of interviews, my head is going to be down again, really gathering all the data and facts to present as a post-event report to the Executive Council. And obviously, there might be changes, but that who's to say that this didn't work? I think it did, and the intent was to have that foundation. So I don't see us changing from that because it really worked as a tagline, and I think we kept to that brand story. We may not have fulfilled all of it, but definitely we created the template that anything could spring from come 2023 and beyond.
Now, I want to talk about the brand a little bit, because one of the things that came up, even from our discussions on set yesterday, was that, I mean, going forward now, we need to know what we are selling as for the Tobago Carnival. What is the identity of the Tobago Carnival? Now, based on what came out of the 2022 productions, and of course, this is just, of course, your initial views, because I know you guys got to go in and do some more detailed postmortems and stuff like that. But I mean, what are you seeing, you know, looking ahead? What are you seeing as that brand of Carnival that we are selling to the people? Yeah. Is it mud? Is it events? What are we selling?
I think it's always going to continue to be a mixture, because persons are coming for, you know, there was something in it for everyone. So I spoke to my uncle yesterday, and he was there with a group of retirees from an area in Fort Lauderdale. And his text to me was, you know, ensure that you have something for the older folks. Then, of course, I had some friends come over from the US, and they were young, vibrant party bunch, so they saw that. And then a lot of people were playing mass for the first time, and they spoke of, I mean, Carnival is a liberating festival, and they felt the freedom and they felt safe, and those things we can hold as a hallmark, because we have to commend the TTPS and Tobago Emergency Management Agency. They pulled out all the stops to ensure that we had a safe carnival, and that is not to be taken lightly in the scheme of things. We were for the first time really expecting a lot of persons on our streets, and they put everything in place to ensure that, and you know what's going on nationally with crime. Yes. So Tobago has offered that space of freedom and celebration in a particular type of way that we need to figure out how to market that and sell that continuously for persons.
And as you're talking about the amount of people that we had on the streets, I mean, we certainly saw that. Like in Crown Point, there was no room. Yeah. You know, I mean, the streets were bursting. And there's also that talk about then how do we manage those routes going forward, because I mean, if this is the amount of people that we're seeing for the inaugural event, then what is to happen in 2023, 2024 as this festival grows and becomes its own identity? So, I mean, just as a cursory glance, are you guys thinking about changing the routes, or to, you know, there's a notion that, you know, perhaps bring it into Scarborough, have everything in Scarborough, because that way you can lock off Scarborough, you have the wider streets and that sort of thing. You know, what are the feelings right now?
Well, I mean, logistics will have to do its work in terms of a deep analysis. A lot of it depended, because all of that came and was placed on the table prior, the suggestion of moving to Scarborough, because we were anticipating more numbers. But then there's also the notion of, you know, there's a certain feel about being in Crown Point and near the beaches and being able to cool down right after Juve. Then Mud is Life as well presented their Mud Festival in the area of Crown Point, and it was an easy feeder, was supposed to be an easy feeder from Juve into the Mud is Life celebration. So a lot of things were taken into consideration, but definitely when we look at numbers, with a year ahead of us to plan, we can now say we have strict timelines and cutoff points where we figure out how many people are registered, how many people are already booked, and that kind of real-time information will inform perform moving forward. Was also the consideration of having 3 separate Juvies, because we know Juve traditionally would be the largest attended event. And then there was also the issue that maybe our security services will be stretched to the limit to actually man 3 Juvies. So it wasn't, you know, sometimes people are seeing what they're seeing in front of them, but they don't understand everything in the background that informs decision making. And, you know, it's always going to be with the best interest of Tobago and the safety of our visitors and the island alike.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was also that complaint that, you know, the Carnival committee took a lot of things on last minute in terms of, you know, coming up, I mean, allowing for that, the soca monarch, the calypso monarch, the pan, you know, I mean, when those things should have been considered in the inception.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, with that in mind and seeing how those events played off, how will that inform 2023's vision?
Yeah, well, now, like I said, you know, as a committee, we definitely sat with stakeholders and we heard their wish lists. We also sat with focus groups, so we heard persons who don't normally fall within those interest groups and stakeholders come out and say what they wanted. And you know, Candace, it's not an easy thing to sit with everybody and tabulate and take everything on board. But definitely we gave it a shot, and we know also what our terms of reference was. It spoke to a showcase of sorts, and that's what we wanted to do. But definitely once we called it Carnival, there are elements of Carnival that everyone would come to expect. So we could not get away in the end from some of the cries that they wanted the competition. And I think honestly, I think the competition worked, and in the way that it did. And the Festivals Commission, TFCL, came on board and worked with those stakeholders to bring it to fruition. And from all indications, the public loved it. Both the public that was there and the public online, they really savored that kind of activity, and definitely we see that there is a place for that in October Carnival moving forward. So I don't see it not happening, and that's a good thing about life. You can start with one thing and you can end with another, and the democracy of it all won out. And I think all of those stakeholders can say they're happy. They may say, well, we should have been brought on before, but I think it worked in this instance because we wanted to start very simple and then build on something.
All right, and I mean, and that's a good point to touch on, you know, starting simple and then build, you know, so now that you have that foundation there. Now, one of the complaints that we've heard loud and clear throughout this whole time is that Tobago artists and Tobago creatives as a whole did not quite benefit as much as the Trinidad or outside elements. How will you answer that?
Yeah.
You know, what are your opinions with us concerned? Did the Carnival committee give the Tobago creatives that push or that investment for this Tobago Carnival?
It's the inaugural Carnival, and like I said, everything that came to the table did not make it to the table. But it's definitely the intent of the committee and the Tobago House of Assembly to ensure that Tobagonians are placed front and center. But there's a process. There's a process, and the thing is, it's funny that people would say that, because to start this off, we engaged a bunch of creatives who informed that Ritual Revelry release video that started off at the media launch.
And
that
those
sits
were
on our
Tobago
website.
creatives?
All of them were. Led by Mr. Daniel Clark, and we peeped in, we guided, but then we left them to themselves, and we saw photographers, videographers, dancers, the Tobago Performing Arts Company Limited, a bunch of persons, makeup artists. Everyone came together to literally inform the foundation of this, to carry the brand story, and they did so brilliantly. When we premiered at the launch, everyone was like, oh, this is Tobago, and this is what we are proud of. So to sit here and say that persons did not benefit from this, I think it's erroneous, and I think that persons should understand some of the events were done by private promoters. If we are speaking to like the artists.
And I think we also need to make that distinction too, because there's that confusion as to, you know, the events and whatnot, because people think that THA had a hand in pretty much everything that happened.
Yeah. I think moving forward, you know, there was talk of a local content policy framework, and coming out of this, we can then say this is what we would use as the guidelines for persons coming in the space to operate. But then there's you have to also speak to training and education, because if you're doing a showcase, you have to have the balance of experience and actually persons who are coming up. So then you might find that there are persons who would figure out there's a category of persons who have promise, who have the talent, who we can work with throughout the year and bring them to a point of actually being able to showcase at the end of October. But you have to understand in 6 months, you would not have been able to do all of that. And we'd want to put our best foot forward. And I definitely want to support young creatives. It's something that I've always been involved with, even from the Tobago Fashion Weekend project to now. But placing the spotlight on Tobago is also important to be that it's done properly. And so I hear the cry, and I understand that, you know, you felt left out, but it was definitely not the intention. And moving forward, I think this is a hand-in-hand process, Candice. But patience is required, as I've always said. It got us to October 30th, and it's going to get us to whenever we're going to be out there again in October.
And of course, this time around, we have a whole year to plan and put things in place for that.
Yes.
So, okay, and then I want to move on to, you know, just that money, because that has been a point. Now, $17.5 million was allocated, and from my understanding, less was spent. So, can you clarify as to how that budget worked out for the hosting of Carnival?
Right. So, that budget, as it speaks to 17.5, I'm hearing, because I'm not actually part of the executing arms that because we have the Tobago Tourism Agency that handled marketing, we have the Tobago Festivals Commission Limited that handled implementation. But what it is that I think folks did not understand clearly is that there was never an event, well, not never, but we never, as for a Carnival product, literally marketed and put a brand out there, and that in itself is expensive. And we were able to do it reasonably well without using digital media and digital marketing. We exercised those advantages quite well. And then, of course, another large chunk of that went to stakeholders and interest groups. The cry was that we needed subvention, and we took on board that there was 2 years of downtime for the creative industry and the artists on the island, and definitely supported them in that way. And I don't know that people understand that when you have to give support in that way, that eats into your budget. Marketing was a huge one. Subventions was another area. Logistics and infrastructure is another. And so, I mean, that budget will probably be made public and ventilated when that time comes. But definitely, I think that was a very prudent budget based on what we were trying to do. This is a tourism product. We are not playing around here. We turned the spotlight on Tobago, and we had to do it prudently and really ensure that what we were putting together was something that was worth the investment and worthy of years to come.
All right, great. Now we're going to continue that discussion. We're going to get a little bit more into that the budget allocation, but we have to take a quick break. So viewers, please don't go anywhere. And of course, in the meantime, share the live, please. You know, get more people on board, and then we can hear a bit more from the chairman of the Carnival Committee as we deal with the postmortem for the Tobago Carnival 2022.
I am Ram, and I'm Co. Together we are Ram and Co. Big up Million Laughs, because on Saturday, November 5th, it is Caribbean Comedy Commerce. It can be hot. The best Trinidadian and Caribbean comedians will be there. For sure. Big up Alan the Entertainer. Big up Larry Joseph and everybody else who's on the cards. That's right. We endorse this show. Big up Alan. Big up Million Laughs. It's going to be an epic show. We endorse this. Be there. There ain't nothing like a Ram and Co. Barbados. Yeah.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. You can play your part safely and anonymously. Report a crime. Earn a reward. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. Be a hero. Champion. Fearless citizen. Be a crime stopper safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime.
advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gayel. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
Remember life before, before 2020? Remember 2019 and behind, go back? Okay, remember them times? You forgot it, me too. So much of new norms. We walk around like bandits. We have curfews. Shops closing early. You bust skis. One long time. In 2019, when they sneeze, what people they say? Yes, you try to bust skis in this room right now.
Saturday, November 5th, Shore Park, Tobago. It's Million Laughs Caribbean Comedy Commerce, the mega laugh festival to end the Tobago Carnival season, featuring Tobago's finest in folklore and musical entertainment, together with some of the Caribbean's top comedians: Larry Joseph, Daryl the Saint Mendoza, Dolores, Alan the Entertainer, Handsome Sun, Mako Media, and more. Get your ticket specials available on Island E-Tickets and various outlets nationwide, or visit the Million Laughs handles for more info. It's Comedy Commerce in Tobago, a wee kind of commerce.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates.
Welcome back to Tobago Updates. Good morning, Tobago on Tobago Updates. And of course, we are continuing our discussions this morning with the chair of the Carnival Committee on Carnival, because we just concluded Carnival and we're all, just sitting back and breathing and just, analyzing what's going on in the space. So before we went to the break, we were touching on the budget. So the THA allocated $17.5 million for the Tobago Carnival. Now, of course, we know that not all of that money was spent. However, there's a lot of questions as to exactly, what cost that sort of money, what went into the background into making sure that we could pull off Carnival for that amount of money. So, before we go into the break, you were giving us some details as to, how that money was spent, what it costs to pull off Carnival in less than 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Candice. So, like I said, when it was all said and done, I know there are certain markers that we really hit, and safety and security, for instance, was one. And so we decided that there was support that was needed to bring in the police service, extra hands on deck, and we supported the police service in that manner. And let me just be clear, it was more or less in terms of accommodation and stuff like that to ensure that our service men will comfortable to go out there. I mean, it was 72 hours of back-to-back events.
And of course, that has a cost attached to it.
And that has a cost attached to it. Like I spoke before to marketing and branding, there's a cost attached to that. The other thing is that competitions were not originally on the table, and competitions now took another portion of that budget because there was prize money involved as well as infrastructure to have it done. So as you look into it, you understand. And first and foremost, the first monies that were allocated and pretty much spent was on those creatives. The creatives that were all Tobago based that really got the first dibs at this thing. So there was also the fact that customer service was going to be very important, and we were expecting visitors. So we then invested in a volunteer program where they were all trained in customer service. 206 persons signed up. I think at the end of the day we trained 156. We now have Tobago Carnival customer service ambassadors. And those are the things that may not come out initially. But again, as we sit down to work on the return on investment, we understand that this budget was really a small budget in comparison to what we're able to accomplish putting the spotlight on Tobago.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, as you touch on the return of investment now, so that's the other complaint that's out there. So we spent 17.5 or less on less on the Carnival. But what's the return on investment? Did the THA make back that money?
All right, and it's very early days to even think of that, but from the looks of it, basically when you talk about spend of incoming visitors, and literally if you've spoken to anyone who has businesses on the island, there was an uptick in business and that was the intention for hosting this event as well, just for this particular year. But moving forward, actually the returns will come tenfold, 20-fold moving on for this first iteration. And again, I would leave it to the economists and the accountants to come up with all the formulas that would prove that this was really a good showing in the first instance, and we're able to save in some cases for what we're able to accomplish. And this is definitely not the time or forum for it, because this is early days yet. So I would be speaking off the top of my head, but definitely at the end of this month, I think the report would show more than I can even see at this point.
But just to clarify, you know, the hosting of this event was more to invigorate business for the private sector and not necessarily to gain back money as a THA, as a state body.
Yeah, it was in the first instance to really churn up the economy of Tobago, which has been stagnant and dormant, even pre-pandemic in certain ways. And I'm not just saying that politically, I'm just saying that from a business person on the island. So I think I am grateful for having this event come at a time when it's usually a slow season or slow period on the island, but also post-pandemic, we needed that push and that surge and influx of persons to really create the groundswell to put dollars into this space.
So is it safe to say then that the money that was spent in millions, the less than 17.5 that was spent, it was more for Tobago as opposed to the THA itself?
Definitely.
All right, great. Now moving on, now we had all the mass bands come out, Juve, Pretty Mass, Rocks Glow, you know, it was, how do you feel about the display that was on the stages, the various stages?
Yeah, I think with more time we could have done better, but I'm definitely pleased with what I saw. Again, given the time frame and the you know, the passion of the persons involved, I must commend the mass band leaders who at times did not get enough communication from us, who were there trying to figure out if it was wise for them to continue, but they stuck with us and they stuck it through, who had issues because a particular type of issue that really presented itself, and it was really one of the hard things to have to work out and work on, where they're masqueraders. There are a number of people trying to come in from Trinidad or abroad and could not get to Tobago, and those were the persons that were willing to purchase costumes to be on the road. And so they were presented with a couple of things that really were challenges, but challenges are growth opportunities, and I think we have to come full circle to the issues of the air bridge and the sea bridge and connectivity if we want to speak to a successful carnival in years to come.
But how did you guys treat with those challenges in terms of making sure that, you know, people who wanted to come were able to come, especially from outside? Yeah,
I mean, meetings and phone calls, and they never stopped. And with Cal especially, they eventually gave us extra flights, extra direct flights, extra air bridge flights, and then apart from that, they were able to block a certain number of seats when they put on additional flights that were geared towards mass bands. I mean, in some instances, it was not the best days, because obviously people worked during the week, and the Friday and the Monday were always going to be very hard days for coming in and returning. But I think Cal did what they could have based on the fact that they have had downsizing, COVID downsizing with pilots and staff. So it's a number of things sometimes out of our control, but it does bring the honest conversation to the fore that we need to have actually extra seats and extra flights and sailings on particular dates in the Tobago's festive calendar.
Now, based on the numbers that you've seen in terms of people on the island over the weekend, you know, do you think that that is a good a good basis for an argument to go to Cal and to go to the Port Authority to say, hey, we need this amount of flights added, we need this amount of ferry sailings added, and early enough so that people can plan way in advance?
Like I said, I mean, it's a very good argument, but beyond that, it's their capacity. It really was a capacity issue, because anybody looking in and forecasting could have seen that we needed more. But the context in which this has to be placed on the table is are you ever going to be able to deal with the capacity issues on certain days? We have jazz coming up next year. We have after Carnival again. We have a number of times throughout the year when we can literally say and forecast that we would need more. And I think that is where our focus has to be at this point. It cannot be a general conversation anymore. It has to be specific to those dates and what can we do to ensure that on those dates Tobago is served well in terms of incoming persons.
And we're certainly hoping that we can see something better for 2023. So, I mean, now you've noted that there were quite a few challenges that you guys had to surmount to pull off this carnival. Now, looking forward to 2023, how would you do things differently? Or and just as a cursory glance, and I know you can't, there's still some things you guys need to determine, but you know, just at a cursory, at an initial glance, how can you do things better for 2023?
I think it really speaks to planning and lead time. And if we put our heads down and work as of December, and I say we as in whomever is chosen to do this, to take the lead on the next iteration of Tobago's Carnival, they do have a year's planning in place. So whatever logistic issues, whatever missteps or mistakes that were made, and that would be from the back end of it, you have enough time to correct it. So the bar is set, and so whomever comes on will really have to ensure that the bar is maintained and even got taken higher. And so in that instance, I think it's just really the planning time so that things happen in a particular time frame that benefits everyone, because persons looking to book to come in needed much more lead time.
Oh yes, they did.
Basically they needed access to seats early, because if the dates were announced early enough, they literally could come on board. They also know what to expect now, so it's not, they don't have to think twice about it, because you know it's done before. So literally I think it's really the planning of it would happen way in advance to ensure that you know most kinks are ironed out.
And then when it comes to marketing, so there were some critics about, you know, you didn't see Carnival marketed at the other regional events, whether other regional carnivals and so on. You know, where do you see the marketing going for 2023? How do you see it coming about?
And that's the thing, Candice. You know, you're hearing that, and that's true. Again, we did not have the time. But I think if you look at marketing and what we were able to achieve just using mostly digital and non-traditional media, I think obviously moving forward, the brand now would have to be exported, and the presence should be felt regionally and internationally by people being there on the ground. But I think what we're able to do with little time and little money is set the foundation again, so that, you know, the next phase would be in your face type marketing. So nothing is lost. All is not lost. We did what we could in this time frame, and I think marketing will take on a different shape, of course, because you now have something to go out and market.
Do you think that the critics are being fair to the Carnival Committee based on, you know, just the challenges that you guys faced and the time frame? You know, we see a lot of comments coming out in the public space. So are they being fair to you guys, you know, in light of everything?
Yeah, I mean, you take everything on board. Criticisms are all good. Feedback is definitely necessary. Some of it actually changed the course of it, so it's not like we heard it and we did not respond to each criticism. But I think that, to be fair to the committee, the public needed to exercise a little more patience. And we understand the angst. We felt it too. We are humans, and we understood your concerns. But pretty much, I wouldn't ask it to be done any other way. It created a space where we decided that we're going to persevere, we're going to do this no matter what, and we're going to put our best foot forward. So I say thank you to everyone who came on board, supported, who did not support, and this is not saying it in any way, shape or form to be sarcastic. I really think that shaping of something really needs all sorts of interventions and criticisms to take us to the next level, and I think that is what happened here. Yeah, I
mean, and then from any initial feedback are you getting as yet from the stakeholders, like the band leaders, the artists and so on? Are you getting any kind of feedback as yet?
Yes, we are.
And what's that been like?
Mostly positive. From a band leader who called me yesterday saying that he's happy. He's happy that he was able to give his clients, his masqueraders, a time And of course, he understood that it could not have happened without the THA first making the decision and the committee then putting things in place and the agencies following up and providing the platform for business to flourish. And even if it did not flourish to the extent this year, it again created a platform. So now you have a product that you can work on a year from now to present again to your public. I mean, if you understand how business works, it doesn't always happen in the first year of business. And so it doesn't say, it speaks to the same sort of a trajectory. And we see very positive comments coming out. And even with the negative ones, it's just a chance to fix it and move on.
And of course, you guys welcome those negative comments because that can help shape the way forward. And then, you know, just looking ahead, we had the Minister of Culture, sorry, not the Minister of the Chairman of NCC, Winston Gypsy Peters. Well, he was a former Minister of Culture, but, you know, he said that he wants to work, he keeps, you know, pushing that idea out that he wants to work more with what's to be involved with the Tobago Carnival. Is there a space for the Tobago Carnival to be have a collaboration with the NCC for future editions?
There was always space. Space was always made. I myself met with Mr. Peters and his commissioners. They just felt that they should not be meeting with a committee, and so they took a certain stance. But I'm glad to see him on board, and I hope he understands that, you know, it's quite different here to Trinidad. He is the National Carnival Commission, but we had a local organizing committee. And so the collaboration had to start at this stage and move on into the planning, and then he would have dealt possibly with the agencies. But I think he did not. He misunderstood the structure of how Tobago wanted to have this done and who was going to meet with them to actually exchange ideas and ask for their support, which was really what the meeting was about. But again, this was a difficult one because everyone's wishes wanted to shine through in this first instance. But I think for those who sat it out, now could actually look and find their space or not and decide whether or not convincingly and with more information, whether or not they want to move forward. And to hear him say that they'd like to move forward, that is excellent because no one ever stopped them prior. Yeah.
And then how, excuse me, how are we looking forward towards, you know, just even that Trinidad involvement? Because there continues to be that debate out there as to how much we should involve, you know, our Trinidad stakeholders. I mean, there's so many different viewpoints where that is concerned. But, you know, based on the collaborations that you guys had this year, and how would that shape, you know, future collaborations?
Yeah, collaboration is key. Collaboration is key. By sheer virtue of their size and their experience, we need the input from our Trinidadian counterparts. And they came on board. Those that felt it necessary did so, and did so brilliantly. The music that came through from the executive producer, Chinese Laundry, utilizing and using our local talent in Adana and Sherwin. That was a major collaboration and a gift, as far as I'm concerned, to the Tobago Carnival. And there were other instances where persons were brought on board, persons placed themselves and made themselves available to the process. And I think it will continuously happen. The artists that brought their brand strategically, like Voice and Nadia Batson and those people, I mean, I just want to say thank you, because no one stopped them. Again, there was no concerted effort to not have the input. People just needed to find their space and place in the system, and I think it worked beautifully for all that found their way through the noise. And we welcome on board anyone that really makes sense to the process.
And then along with the noise came the rains. You know, how are we going to deal with the rains going forward? Because, I mean, unfortunately, this is the way how the weather has been changing. We're seeing wetter and wetter October, November months. You know, how can we... What can be done to, you know, just prepare for the rainfall? Yeah. So, because we can't stop it, there's nothing we can do about it. But how do we prepare for it going forward?
Yeah, again, conversations need to be had about indoor facilities that may form part of contingency plans. We know that people are coming to the island and we want to be outdoors, we're in the tropics, but you're right. The reality is that Tobago's Carnival is in October. You hear people saying, you know, we should move the dates and stuff like that. I mean, again, post-event reporting would really inform those decisions. But from where I sit, October is really really ideal in other instances outside of the weather. So I think we'll have to figure out how to create mitigating factors. I mean, Voice was able to move his show to Shore Park, and you know, people from all intents and purposes seem to have had a good time and welcomed that change in venue to deal with the weather conditions. So we may very well see, I don't know, maybe a dome being built to deal with something like that, or a private investor coming on to say, I'm going to have this climate control space that is going to be, you know, something that we can prevail against weather, and you guys can have it for your use. So there's a lot of things that would have to be considered. And like I said, some people were excited about the rain, believe it or not. Some people wished to party in the rain, but you know, you definitely have to put contingency measures in place to deal with the onslaught of climate change and general weather systems that occur during that time.
Now, so getting ready to wrap up, one thing that you said that stuck out is that, you know, there's a space for people. You just have to find your space. You have to be able to look at it and find your space. Now, what do you want to leave with people looking forward to 2023? What do you want the Tobago population, the Tobago creatives especially, to know going forward and, you know, just planning ahead?
Yeah. I just want everybody to understand that this really is for Tobago. There's no doubt about it. This was conceptualized and planned and executed, implemented with Tobago in mind. And regardless of how you may feel in this first instance, I think, again, we have ample time to bring everyone into the room. Everyone with positive attributes, everyone who would like to contribute should have their day or in the sun. And basically, we chart a way forward that is carefully planned and curated for the experience that we are trying to sell. And I welcome on board, even before I remit the office of the chair, I'd like to have conversations with persons who felt that they were displaced in the process to see if I can leave in that report a recommendation for inclusiveness, more inclusiveness generally. I'd just like to say thank you to Tobago for believing in this project and for really displaying the Tobagonian stamp over the last weekend and really setting the stage for October 2023 here in Tobago.
All right, I want to thank you so much, Ms. Misha, for being on with us. And of course, viewers, like especially for those of you all out there that had your issues or had your complaints or had your misgivings, you know, Mr. said it here, you know, now is the opportunity to let your concerns be heard. Let her know what you didn't feel comfortable about, what you didn't agree with, you know, what issues you had, because that's the only way that we can ensure that we have a better Carnival product going forward. All right, so thank you again this morning for being on with us. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you, Candace.
All right, great. Well, viewers, that's how we're going to have to wrap the show this morning. But before I go, I'm going to tell you that tomorrow we're going to have the Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Ms. Tashia Boris. She's going to be on with us and giving us her view on the Carnival and the plans and a whole lot more. So, of course, you're not going to want to miss that conversation tomorrow at 7 a.m. So you're going to want to tune in. All right, viewers, so have a wonderful, safe and productive day. It's a bit wet and rainy out there, so please be safe on the roads, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Yeah, double. When outside open back again, Lord. I just want to see who have the baddest crew, who have the baddest crew, who have the baddest, who have the baddest, who have the baddest crew, who have the baddest crew, who have the baddest crew. I say my team was than you, and this is what they love to do. My crew just hold on the fence and start to shake it, grab a girl waist and dislocate it. You feel your bad? My crew go really hard. Hold on the fence and start to shake it, grab a girl waist and dislocate it. You feel your bad? My crew go really hard. Boy, my crew does make sure that they reach in venue first, and they're not even in there till the sun come up, We party hard, we party stink, we party rough. My crew does really turn it up. You're tired yet? No. You don't break a sweat? No. Are you ready to go home? No. Well, then we get to the zone, I said to show me where you come from. Everybody start pumping, and if you're crew more mad, then represent and show me who have the baddest crew, who have the baddest crew, who have the baddest, who have the baddest, who have the baddest crew, who have the baddest crew, who have the baddest crew. I say my team was than you, and this is what they love to do. My crew does good. sour day. Oh yeah.
Licking at the Anton again.
All them years of my life that I'm playing mass, boy, I never see this. All the while thinking I dey in charge of job, boy, I never see this.